F125 My Team Career Mode for Season 2, Round number 2, the Japanese Grand Prix. We of course had a podium last time out in Australia. If you watched that video, if you didn't, link will be in the description. And it was, our first podium as TGL Motorsport in 2025. Second podium for Oliver Bearman, of course, is who we are driving for this entire season, as we actually have a meeting with him for early talks going into next season. Very early talks here, it seems, but yeah, that's just how it worked out. Just doing our usual, doing some upgrades, developments, research, and facility improvements that we can. But yeah, we of course had our first podium. Ollie Bearman's second podium was he got a podium last season in Australia as well. But we were looking at potentially even winning that race, but ended up having contact with Charles Leclerc, got a little bit of front wing damage, and that dropped us down to P3, unfortunately. But our pace is good. Our car is very good this season. We've had a massive jump up in performance from Season 1. So we're going to try and build on that for the rest of this season, because yeah, I definitely think we can win races this season and maybe even go for the title, based on the performance we just had. We actually get a new secondary sponsor going into this race, so I'm not going to show you it, but we are going to put that sponsor onto the car and just do a few more developments here and have a look at the R&D. And as you can see, we are still sat third quickest. This is exactly where we were last time around. Ferrari have just about jumped ahead of Williams though, because they were behind Williams on R&D before. You can see it there. Even though Charles Leclerc and Ferrari won the race in Australia, his pace seemed very good compared to where the car was. Yeah, they were only like the 6th quickest team on paper. We are just behind Red Bull. You can see now that I've actually given the newest upgrades to Bearman. The game seems a little bit glitched, because if I tell the game to equip an upgrade to Aaron's car, it'll put it on Bearman's car. If I tell them to give an upgrade to Bearman, it'll put it on Aaron's car. So I have to remember that if I want it on Bearman's car, I've got to equip it to Aaron, which, yeah, I don't know what that's... Ever since I've messed around with, the mods, the livery mods, which is the only mods I've put on this game are livery mods. Ever since I've been doing that, the game's been a little bit more glitchy than usual. So that's a little bit annoying, considering they're just livery mods. I don't know why there are so many issues, but yeah, might just be a coincidence, but there we go. As you can see here in Q1, the track is rather wet. It is a pretty wet session, 2 wet sessions in a row. Of course, we've had rain at the start of the Australian Grand Prix. We have rain here in qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. We end up qualifying P3 in Q1. Aaron is out again, despite us having a quick car. He's out again in Q1, but maybe more surprisingly, Max Verstappen is out in the McLaren, and both Red Bulls are out. They didn't go out on a set of intermediates, they just went out on a set of wets, and they are going to be 19th and 20th on the grid. The Red Bulls, the second quickest car on paper, they are the 2 slowest cars in qualifying, which is kind of crazy. Red Bull having a bit of a fall off in form since losing Max Verstappen, but we'll have to see. I mean, they had a decent result last time out in Australia. I think they were 4th and 6th, so they had a decent result in the end. But yeah, starting literally 19th and 20th is going to be a bit of an uphill battle here in Japan, all because they just didn't go out on a set of intermediates for some reason. As we finish our flying lap here in Q2, you can see we're purple through Sector 2. That is where we seem to be really quick, and I'm actually going pretty well on these inters in the wet conditions. We're not doing bad. We're P2 in Q2 here, just over 2/10 behind Leclerc in P1. It's another shock of George Russell out in Q2. He was quickest in Q1. He's out in Q2 in the Mercedes, which is the quickest car on paper. So that's a bit of a shock. Everybody else not really a shock going out, but we now head into Q3 and our fastest lap. Now we're already quickest because going into this session it is now dry, so I can have 2 runs on dry compound tyres. Now you can see we're already a 1/10 and a half up on our first time. That is because it was dry, but it was only just dry in that on that first lap. So I mean, you can see already Hulkenberg's just gone second quickest in the Audi. I know it's got the Sauber logo, and they are called Sauber or Kick Sauber in the game, or Stake, whatever it calls them, but it is Audi. But yeah, he goes quicker. We're already down to P8 because yeah, despite going quickest, in the first runs. The track has dried out a lot more now. I mean, we're 4 seconds up on our time right now, so that just shows you how much the track has dried up, and we are the last one out on track here as well, so we are potentially going to get the best position here. By the way, both Alpines got it through to Q3, which is crazy. Both the Jacks at Alpine, Doohan and Crawford, through to Q3. Looks like they're going to be lining up probably 9th and 10th here. But yeah, both Alpines and an Audi in Q3, which is kind of crazy. But we're going to come round this final chicane here. It's been a good lap. We're 5.5 seconds, going on to almost 6 seconds up on our fastest time before we cross the line. And it's not quite enough. It's P2 in the end. Oscar Piastri just a bit too quick in that Mercedes. He's actually 2/10 ahead of us, but it is still a good qualifying for us. Starting on the front row here in Japan, Fernando Alonso puts his Aston Martin Honda in P3, so that's a very good position for him. And also Carlos Sainz P5 in the Williams, great for him. The two Ferraris not doing as well. Callie Mayer a lot closer to her teammate Charles Leclerc. They are 6th and 7th, so let's see what this race has in store.
Welcome along to the legendary Suzuka. This classic racetrack boasts a long history dating right back to 1962 when it was first opened. Will more history be written here today at the Japanese Grand Prix? 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Ollie Behrman completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Norris, Carlos Sainz and Leclerc, Mayer, Hülkenberg, Doohan and Jack Crawford, Hadjar, Albon, Gabriel Bortoleto and Russell, Ocon, Lawson, Max Verstappen and Paul Aaron, O'Sullivan, Antonelli, Gasly and Aiden Jackson rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today is a man who needs no introduction, but I'll try anyway. It's Ant Davidson. Glorious Suzuka. It's a bit like Silverstone, an iconic track for which we couldn't have an F1 season without it. And so much for the drivers to think about around here.
Absolutely, Crofty. The only figure-of-8 circuit that we have on the calendar, and you kind of wonder, why don't we have more? Because it's such a good format. The drivers love this track. It's got a great flow to it, a fantastic circuit. Not the best for overtaking, but my goodness, from inside the car, it's a real treat for the drivers.
Right, here we go for the Japanese Grand Prix in Season 2, 2026. It is lights out and away we go. We are on the soft compound tyres. Piastri's on the mediums, so we're going to jump on him at the start and are going to take the lead into Turn 1. We lead the Japanese Grand Prix right at the start here because we have that tyre advantage. Now we are almost certainly doing a two-stop here. Softs, mediums is the predicted strategy. Piastri being on the mediums, he could be doing a two-stop, could be doing a one-stop, because we did have the option of medium to hard, but the game wanted me to go soft, medium, and I thought, you know what, I think that's more exciting, and I saw a lot of the grid were also starting on softs. If you're starting on softs, you have to be doing a two-stop, because softs to hards is not going to work. The tyre wear is too high around here to really do that. So I think the people starting on softs definitely doing a two-stop. The ones starting on mediums probably trying a one-stop. So we'll see how that works, because already halfway around this lap, or just over halfway around this lap, we have a 1 second lead already over Oscar Piastri. Alonso's managed to stay in P3. He's on the soft compound tyres with us. So despite that, Aston Martin, not being anywhere near as quick of a car as us or the Mercedes, he is somewhat hanging on there because he's on those softs. Sainz also on softs. He's up to P4 because Lando Norris actually started on hard, so he's certainly got to be doing a one-stop, probably hards to mediums, whereas a lot of other people on a predicted one-stop seem to be doing mediums to hards. Now at the back, the two Red Bulls are literally running 21st and 22nd. I think I said 19th and 20th, didn't I? It's 21st and 22nd because of, you know, an extra car on the grid. But Aiden Jackson actually hits the back of his teammate Pierre Gasly, has given himself front wing damage, and is going to be coming into the pits at the end of lap 1. That is a terrible start for the Red Bull team. Lando Norris on lap 3 gets himself back past Carlos Sainz. He may be on hard compound tyres, but he is quicker than that Williams, and he's going to make his way up the order. Jack Crawford currently doing a pretty good job, goes to the outside, then switches to the inside to dive up the inside of Nico Hülkenberg in the Audi. Crawford up to P8. Now he qualified just behind his teammate of Doohan, but Doohan's fallen down to P12 and is actually 4 seconds behind Albon in 11th, whereas Crawford still currently hanging on in the top 10. Charles Leclerc then gets past Carlos Sainz. Sainz just doesn't seem to have the pace now. His tyres are probably starting to go off a little bit, and yeah, the cars around him just a bit too quick, as Callie Mayer having a much better time this time out in the Ferrari. She was absolutely nowhere in Australia, nowhere near the points. Here, she's running just behind her teammate, so doing a good job. We continue on here on lap number 7. We're about 1.5 seconds away from Piastri. We got this gap up to, I think, about 2 seconds. Piastri's slowly starting to eat into that gap now as our tyres start to wear. As the Ferraris are making moves once again, this time it's Charles Leclerc getting past Lando Norris. So Leclerc on the soft compound tyres. I'm pretty sure his teammate, and yeah, we can see it up there, Callie Mayer, is on medium, so she might be doing a one-stop. Leclerc on a two-stop, so looks like Ferrari might be splitting their strategies as we come in to the pits for our first pit stop, and we're going straight onto another set of soft tyres. This is our first stop. Piastri takes the lead of the race. Alonso comes in with us because he's also on a two-stop. Norris and Meyer go past. They're both on predicted one-stops. So we'll have to see how this works out for us. We're going to come out of the pits. Jack Crawford is coming down the grid there. There he goes. He's on probably a one-stop. We're going to get ahead, just about get out ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, but we're behind Crawford. However, should be fairly easy to get the move done here. We're much quicker than him. We're on fresher tyres, and at a place where you don't really expect to see a move, we're going to dive down the inside of Crawford, the young American, and get up into P4. Now trying to chase down a 9-second gap to Callie Mayer up ahead, and only a few laps, we're right on her tail here. She is definitely struggling and is probably going to be coming in at the end of this lap or the next one, but we are right behind her now. Lando Norris is just 4 seconds up the road as well in P2. Piastri still a fair way ahead of him though, because he's quite a bit quicker than the Mercedes, but don't want to make a crazy move on Mayer, but eventually I think she does come in for a stop. Charles Leclerc will get past Fernando Alonso finally. These guys running on the same strategy. Actually, they're also doing a two-stop, but Alonso, has shown some good speed at the start of this race, but that Aston Martin just isn't as quick as the cars around him, as Lando Norris now gets past Alonso and up into P3. We managed to get back up to the lead, of course, after Piastri came into the pits. He's now 13.5 seconds behind us, but we're now coming in for our final pit stop. He's on a set of hards, so Piastri is going to the end, which means we are almost certainly, no, we definitely are going to lose the lead of the race here to Piastri. He will go ahead of us as we trundle down the pit lane. There he goes, just getting past us now. It's a question though of, will we get out ahead of Lando Norris, or are we going to fall behind him as well as we come out of the pits, and Norris will get ahead of us. There he goes. So we're down to P3. We've got 2 positions to make up now in this race. I was hoping it was just going to be 1, but we've got to get past Lando Norris as well. Here we go, lap 20 of 27. We're eyeing up a bit of an audacious move on Norris. He goes defensive though to the inside around this next corner. Is that Spoon Curve? I believe that's Spoon Curve, if I'm getting that correctly. Yeah, down to 130R, is that what it's called? I can't remember corner names. I'm terrible with corner names, but we're really sizing up a move on Norris here, but I have to be cautious here. You know, I can't do anything stupid because I've got to try and catch up to Piastri, and if we get damaged, that's going to make it very difficult. So here we go. We now have DRS down the front straight, going for a move on Lando Norris. We cut ourselves right to the inside there and fly past him up into P2, and we've now got 6-7 laps to catch Piastri for the lead of this race. Now, Verstappen, just like in Australia, started outside the top 10 and is making his way back into the top 10, just getting back up into P10 right now, but he's 5 seconds behind the car in 9th. So, yeah, he's not looking at a massive amount of points. Once again here, 2 disappointing weekends in a row for our defending champion. Now, lap 23, we've now caught up to the back of Oscar Piastri. It looks like the 2-stop is going to work out for us here, but we have to make the move down to 130R. We are right behind Oscar Piastri here, and we're going to tuck to what is going to be the outside for the chicane. We're going to try and get this move done before we even get to the front straight, round the outside. Beautiful little move, and we're back into the lead of this Japanese Grand Prix. We have DRS as well to defend down to turn 1, and we are looking at winning this race. Charles Leclerc is making his way back through the order, if I can speak. Just getting past George Russell there. Russell on a 1-stop, and of course Leclerc on the 2-stop, but having to make up some ground as Esteban Ocon is the first and only retirement of this Japanese Grand Prix, just with a mechanical failure. And as we come to the end of this race, we end up almost 8 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri, but in the end, we got a podium in Australia. It is going to be our first win, and Oliver Behrman's first win in Formula 1 as we win the Japanese Grand Prix. What a race. The 2-stop worked for us. I think we could have won the race even if we were on the 1-stop. We had very good pace today, even compared to the Mercedes. But in the end, the 2-stop worked. We got some overtakes done, and we won the Japanese Grand Prix.
Here's the checkered flag, and here's our winner today. Hats off to Ollie Behrman.
Well, they were clearly at one with their car today, Crofty, out there. New regulations, of course, for this season, and you can tell that they've done their homework. They've studied, they've put probably a lot of time in the simulator, worked well with their engineer, and, I mean, they were absolute joy to watch out there today. They really were.
Well, it's been a long wait for many of our drivers, but the wait is always worth it. Bring them out to the awaiting crowd. It's time for our podium celebrations. High fives and bear hugs for Ollie Behrman, who takes our top spot.
Yes, it is a win. Our first win in Formula 1. That is very exciting. It's been a great start to this season. I really hope we can keep this momentum going. But other than ourselves, Behrman, it is a completely different podium because we've got Oscar Piastri getting his first podium of the season and his first podium with Mercedes in second, and Lando Norris comes home third for McLaren for his first podium of the season as well. So it is a different podium other than Oliver Behrman for this race, and Callie Mayer actually does a great job. She ends up P4, which is really, really good. She beats Charles Leclerc mainly because Leclerc was on a 2-stop, she was on a 1-stop. Leclerc was the second highest of the 2-stop finishers, then Fernando Alonso P7. So if he did a 1-stop, he maybe could have been higher up the order. I'm not really sure. Just didn't quite have the pace. The Red Bulls actually really recovered. P8 and P9 for Gasly and Jackson respectively. That is pretty damn impressive. Double points for them after their terrible qualifying. And Max Verstappen once again ends up P10, although he did have the fastest lap, although there's no point for that anymore. And in the Drivers' Championship, well, Ollie Behrman leads the championship 5 points ahead of Charles Leclerc. It's 40 points to 35 points, and then it's Russell and Norris behind, followed by Piastri. All very close to each other at the moment, of course, this early point of the championship, but yeah, we lead the championship. One of our drivers leads the championship. And in the Constructors, not really any big changes or any changes at all. I think maybe Mercedes actually moves ahead of Ferrari. Ferrari were leading after round 1, but it's now Mercedes on top, 1 point ahead of Ferrari, and only 8 points ahead of ourselves. So the top 3, only after 2 rounds, mind, are separated by less than 10 points. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.